Hello out there in YouTube land. I am the Schleg Daddy.
Tasteless Tony T.
And you're tuning in to this edition of the Wedge Busters. Very close to the Tasteless one's heart. The 2011 NFL season, thank God it did, finally kicked off. And we saw the New Orleans Saints traveling to the not-so-frozen tundra of Lambeau Field to take on the defending Super Bowl champions Green Bay Packers. This was a shootout behind Aaron Rodgers' 27 of 35 for 312-yard, 3-touchdown performance. The Green Bay Packers got out to a strong start, faded a little at the end, but were able to hold on for a 42-34 victory. Move on to Sunday's games now. How about that?
How about it?
Yes. The Philadelphia Eagles traveled to St. Louis, and behind quarterback Michael Vick and that high-powered Eagles offense, they were able to go on the road to the Edwards-Jones Dome and pull out a 31-13 victory.
The Bears defense took on the Atlanta Falcons in a game that should have been more exciting, but wasn't for Atlanta fans, where the Bears hosted the Falcons and beat them 30-12.
Kenny Britt had a monster day, having 136 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, but it wasn't enough because Matt Hasselbeck sucks, and the Jacksonville Jaguars held on to beat the Tennessee Titans 16-14 in AFC South action.
In the AFC North action, the Pittsburgh Steelers continued their losing streak, getting wiped out by the Baltimore Ravens 35-7.
Ouchies. And I'm sure what the city of Detroit hopes will be a great season for that Lions organization. They went on the road to former NFC Central rival Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they beat them 27-20 behind a 300-yard, 3-touchdown passing game from quarterback Matthew Stafford. In the battle of supremacy in the state of Ohio, only one team can reign as not as bad. The Cincinnati Bengals rode some second-half comeback magic from Bruce Gradkowski.
Easy for you to say.
Exactly. It came back to beat Cleveland 27-17.
In a game where Indianapolis played without their offensive coordinator, probably for most of the year, the Houston Texans destroyed, dismantled, and any other adjective you could say about the Indianapolis Colts 34-7.
Arrowhead Stadium became Ryan Fitzpatrick's personal plaything as the Buffalo Bills traveled into Kansas City and whooped the Chiefs' ass 41-7.
In a game where the Vikings came out strong, taking on the Chargers, they forgot to guard the second-string running back in Mike Tolbert, and the Chargers come back in winning fashion, winning 24-17.
Because I hate Rex Grossman, it's only fitting I have to talk about this one. The Washington Redskins came out and really stuck a game to the New York Giants and rode Rex Grossman's 300-yard passing performance to a 28-14 victory. Fuck you, Eli Manning.
The number one drop pick, Cam Newton, had a stellar rookie performance, going 422 yards with 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and an interception. But he can't play defense as well, and the Arizona Cardinals prevailed 28-21. A really competitive and aggressive NFC West matchup. Jim Harbaugh wins his debut against Pete Carroll's Seattle Seahawks, winning 33-17 behind Ted Ginn Jr.'s punt return and kick return touchdown.
For the Sunday night game, the Dallas Cowboys came out and really dictated the first 3 quarters against the New York Jets. Unfortunately, towards the end of the game, Tony Romo decided, it's time for his best Neil O'Donnell impression. The New York Jets end up holding on to win 27-24. It's time for what we thought was the game of the week. We'll start with you, Tasteless One.
On Thursday night, the last 2 Super Bowl champions faced off in what was the best game of the week. Aaron Rodgers having a stellar performance, going 77% completion rate, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, in what was a really great game of the phantom pass interference call in the end zone at the end, where my Green Bay Packers stuffed Mark Ingram on the 1-yard line.
My game of the week has to be the Sunday night game, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets. To see the Cowboys come out through 3.5 quarters and really be the better football team, yet still find a way behind their choke artist of a freaking quarterback who sucks, and everybody who still thinks he's good should learn to suck on it because Romo is not a franchise quarterback. The Cowboys snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, but it was an entertaining game with a memorable finish.
Indeed. And now it's time for our Week 1 Team of the Week. And Schleg Daddy, why don't you spill it out for everybody?
Homer or not, I got to go with the Bears behind a defense that did not allow a touchdown, held Matt Ryan's offense to 6 points, and an offense that rode Jay Cutler's 300-yard passing performance. The Bears came out And as good as Green Bay was on Thursday night, offensively, the Bears came out and played a well-balanced, complete team game and dominated Atlanta pretty much from start to finish. What about you?
I do think that the team of the week for me is the Baltimore Ravens. They pretty much shut down Big Ben and that Super Bowl team last year. The defense showed up, a couple of key interceptions by Ed Reed, and the offense was clicking with Ray Rice.
They made a statement with that
Absolutely.
victory, no doubt. What's more fun than talking about the winners of the week?
The losers of the week.
And I'll kick this bad boy off. Your loser of the week has to be the Dallas Cowboys. To face a team in the Jets that's made it to back-to-back AFC championship games and be the better team on the field most of it, only to have your piss-headed quarterback blow it for you late, that makes you the loser of the week in my book. What about you?
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs laying an egg at home versus a Buffalo team with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Getting blown out. You were a playoff team last year. You have Jamal Charles, one of the premier running backs. You let this team, Stevie Johnson.
I thought Arrowhead was tough to play in. Not for Fitzpatrick. It's the house that he owns now.
Yes.
Now we're going to talk about our individual stars of the week, and we'll start on the offensive side of the ball with quarterback. Who do you think was the quarterback of week one?
I think Matt Stafford came out and had a statement game, coming out with the injury problems he had last year, making a statement, with the 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but over 300 yards passing.
And I'll go with, even though it was in a losing effort, Cam Newton, the #1 pick for the Carolina Panthers. He went on the road to Arizona. It's still an NFL defense of some caliber. Went 24 of 37 for 422 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, a touchdown on the ground. Definitely an impressive performance. Now we move on to running back. Who is your star of the week there?
We're going to take the Baltimore Ravens running back committee of Ricky Williams and Ray Rice. 170 yards rushing, 2 total touchdowns, and I think just in a stellar performance against a Pittsburgh defense.
Pittsburgh never had a shot yesterday. And I will go with Mike Tolbert. The Chargers came out as they traditionally do and kind of laid an egg in the first half. And then all of a sudden, Mike Tolbert continued to explode. And he ended up, it's not the yards that are important, even though he did have 9 catches for 58 yards. He had 2 receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. And without Mike Tolbert, the Chargers do not win yesterday, period.
Time for the wide receiver star of the week. Your go.
No disrespect to guys like Steve Smith from Carolina or Kenny Britt with the Titans who had really big weeks, but my star of the week at wide receiver has to be Megatron, Calvin Johnson. He had 6 catches for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns, and more importantly, he's really the primary weapon without a whole lot else other talent there, and the chemistry him and Matthew Stafford showed could mean some really big things down the road for this Lions organization. What about you?
Mine is a special weapon in Green Bay, the second-round draft pick out of Kentucky, Randall Cobb. Being the first player born in the 1990s, he tied an NFL record with a 108-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And he also scored a receiving touchdown. He's going to be a special weapon in the slot for that Packer offense.
And now we move on to the defensive side of the ball. Who was your defensive player of the week?
Taking one of the older guys on that Baltimore defense with Ed Reed, where he had 6 tackles, 2 interceptions that meant something, and 4 pass deflections against the Pittsburgh offense.
He really helped set the tone for that dominant Baltimore defensive performance yesterday. And I'm going to go with my boys, the Chicago Bears, and Brian Urlacher. He ended up with 6 solo tackles, 4 assists. He picked off Matt Ryan early in the first quarter yesterday and also took a fumble back to the house. He was just all over the place and was a real catalyst for the havoc they caused Matt Ryan yesterday.
And you know what that means. It's time for the go to the week. Week 1, who do you got?
I'm going to go a little differently. The easy answer is Tony Romo. I'll leave him alone because I've said it enough. I'm going to go with Raheem Morris and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive game plan, because they were never really out of that game, especially in the first half. Yet LeGarrette Blount, a 1,000-yard rusher off of, 11, 12 games last year, got 5 flippin' carries. That's inexcusable and not a way for that Tampa Bay team or to win in the NFL in general for anybody. It's just not good. What about you?
The same could be said for Atlanta's play calling, with Turner only getting 10 touches. My go to the week goes to the brand new quarterback in Minnesota, Donovan McNabb, with a 47.9 quarterback rating, going 7 for 15 for a grand total of 39 yards.
He snatched
He
defeat
did
from
throw
his-
one touchdown, but he canceled it out with an interception in a losing effort against the Chargers. Way to go, Vikings. Start the Ponder Express.
Couldn't Christian Ponder have done that?
He could at least run.
So what did we learn from the first week of the 2011 NFL season, Tasteless Tony?
I learned that football is back, and for good reason. We learned that the 5 yards on the kickoff really don't affect too much. You get some people, returning it. I like the fact that some people have the balls to do it. Good performances. You'll have the week one ups and downs, like you said earlier. I just enjoyed watching as much as I could.
I learned that maybe my Bears were a little bit better than I thought going into this season, or the Falcons aren't as good as people thought going into this season. I learned that the Green Bay Packers offense is lethal, especially with Aaron Rodgers in the passing game. And I learned that just like any other season, there are going to be those surprise teams and those that disappoint. But most importantly, I learned that the Dallas Cowboys have officially put their name into the Andrew Luck sweepstakes. Let us know what you thought of week one of the 2011 NFL season down below. I am the Schleg Daddy.
Tasteless Tony T, and we're getting ready for Monday Night Football.
Indeed. When you want to hear football and you hope it's good, who you going to call? Wedge Buster!